Hi, I'm Ella. I'm a mum of 3 boys, one angel side and 2 earth side. My kids are, the youngest is 5, the middle one is nearly 8, and the eldest would be a year older, so would be nearly 9 if he was alive. So at first we just thought we'll see how we go. If it happens, it happens, and then wasn't happening, and a really good friend of mine recommended a fertility clinic that she had gone to freeze her eggs, and we thought, let's go along. And that's when we realised that the journey was going to be a bit longer for us. So did lots of tests, a lot of tests, and went through quite a few different rounds of treatments. We ended up having ovulation induction a few times, and then IUI, which is intrauterine insemination, and then also 2 rounds of IVF. It was very difficult. At the time I was traveling a bit, and so I had to make an excuse of why my husband would have to travel with us, and so he would travel with all my IVF drugs with me interstate and make sure I had them at a certain time, make sure we had a fridge to hold them into, and I'd be so stressed that, like, what if security picks us up going through, and I had to explain it to my manager of the IVF drugs on me kind of increased the intensity of everything. Like, everything felt a lot more than, say, it normally would have felt. So the high highs felt higher, but then the low lows felt a lot lower, and that combined with a lot of stress of other things as well. Yeah, it was quite difficult to navigate at the time. We spent probably just over 60K. I know lots of people have spent a lot more than that, but it obviously does impact you financially. We were very lucky that we could afford to pay that. But yeah, we kind of thought IVF was the gold standard. It was going to work. It was going to be amazing. The first round of IVF, I got quite sick. I was physically quite sick during it. And I remember waking up and seeing they write on your hand how many eggs that you collected. I remember hearing everyone else's number, and I had 12, and I was like, oh, 12's amazing. That's so good. Like, it's going to happen this time. And then when they go through the process, only 1 egg survived out of those 12. And so we were like, it's okay, we got 1 go implanted. And then that one obviously didn't hold. And so that miscarried, that pregnancy. And so then the next round of IVF, we had to wait a little bit because I'd been so unwell from the first one. Went through it again. And then I remember looking at my hand and I had 4. And I was like, oh my God, I went through all that pain, like financial, physical, emotional burden. And I was like, my heart just sunk. Like, everyone else had 12, someone had 20 around me. I was like, oh, what is wrong with me? And so obviously during the process, all those 4 eggs failed, which is then we're like, right, IVF is not working for us either. And I felt like it's me again, like my eggs, like I don't have good eggs, like my eggs aren't strong enough, like I know he really wants a child as well, like I've failed us as a relationship. I think I carry that, and I still feel that guilt even now that it was my fault that it took so long, that I wasn't healthy enough for us to be able to have kids. We tried some different medication and also some vitamins to help with egg quality, and we were very lucky in that we did fall pregnant, even though I did have implantation bleed. So I thought that it wasn't successful that round, but it was. So it was great to be able to go and get an ultrasound every single time I bled. I had quite a bit of first trimester bleeding with that, with my first pregnancy. But then everything looked fine. We had a 20-week scan early at 19 weeks, and he was fantastic. Saw a little picture of him smiling at us, and that's when I told work, finally at 20 weeks. I thought, oh, finally, like we've gotten past all of, the early stage, or like apparently past the risky period of miscarriage. So we told everyone at 20 weeks. And then at 20 weeks and 4 days, I felt really heavy. And I remember saying to my husband, wow, if I feel this heavy now, imagine what it's going to be like at 40 weeks. And we kind of laughed it off. And I'd been Googling. I was like, let's do exercise. So we went for a walk and we were out and about. And I noticed some spotting at 20 weeks and 4 days. And it kind of didn't go away, and it kept feeling heavy. So we went to the hospital at the time just to get it checked out. And we were at a private hospital. And they said, oh, you have to go to the public hospital. We can't help you. It looks like your cervix may have opened. And I didn't really know what that meant at the time. I was like, okay, it's just like all the other bleeding that had happened. I'm sure it's going to be fine. While they were setting me up, I started to get, period-like cramping. I still didn't really understand what was going on. And then we went through because the pain got a lot worse. And I remember thinking something's not quite right here. And the pain was so severe. I remember thinking in my head, oh my God, can someone just make this go away? Because I could not handle this. And then within a split second, the pain stopped. And I was like, there's water somewhere. And apparently my husband walked to the side of the room and nearly vomited because it meant that we had lost our baby. Yeah, it was just really hard because we had just told everyone. And so we were so happy. And then to have that was really hard. And I had an excellent midwife who pretty much got me out of bed and said, right, get up. You're going to have a shower. You are not going to let this consume you. I have seen so many women just lose themselves to this. This is not going to happen to you. You've got great doctors. You're going to get up and you will get pregnant and you're going to keep going. And we did. We started the journey again. So we got pregnant 5 months after we had lost our first. And yeah, it was quite a surprise. And I think we didn't really have the joy that we had with our first. I think it was very different this time, very hesitant, and kind of did not allow myself to really get excited about it, very anxious the whole time. With quite a bit of bleeding. I had cervical incompetence, which meant that they were going to have to stitch me, but they couldn't stitch me having so much bleeding all this time, so we had to wait. So I was pretty much on bed rest, not moving around for much of the first pregnancy. And even after my stitch, every time I would get up too much, I would feel that weight. And I was so nervous about it, having felt that weight with Alex before he died, that I was like pretty much just laid down, didn't really do much, didn't want to lift too much stuff for pretty much most of that pregnancy up until 37 and a bit weeks when our second was born. Coming to the end of our fertility journey after about 8 years was a relief. A relief that we didn't have to go through the high highs and low lows, and a relief that we were able to have, 2 lovely children with us today. I don't think that anxiety I have will ever really go away. I think I'm always worried that something's going to happen. And a bit of me, I think, because of that process, I can never really enjoy things completely, because a part of me is like, if I enjoy it too much, it's something bad's going to happen. So hopefully that feeling will go away in time. But yeah, I think the journey does have long-lasting impacts on you and the way you look at life. I think I'm incredibly lucky. I think globally, there's not a lot of research into women's health in particular. And I felt, going through this process was probably the first time a doctor ever really looked at my health and how that would impact fertility in totality. I think I was shocked at just how much it had changed, even from having my second to my third, how many more tests there were, how many different things that they could highlight. There was different testing, like on the eggs, there was different testing for me. And I was shocked at, even in 2.5 years, how much had changed and how much of an impact that had on what was actually coming to market, like as a patient. Without medical research, lots of lives would never have happened and lots of lives would have been lost. So the research that happened 5, 10, 20 years ago is helping us now. And so the research they do now is going to be helping the generations to come. Without the research and people, really looking into it deeply and spending money to find out how to make this more efficient, it impacted me. But imagine the future generations with the technology we have now, with the more funding, how much more they can do so that people don't have to go through the high highs and low lows for, 5, 8, 10 years or more. Personally, if I could, I would give everything, because I could never, and I say this to the doctors at the time, I could never express them how grateful we are, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have what we have today. We wouldn't have a family like we do today. So I give them my life. They created life, because without them, we wouldn't have our kids. Yeah, we are incredibly lucky. So lucky to have, our beautiful boys.